The palace of the Lurian Empire was filled with music and bright colors. Tall columns lined the halls, and the walls shined with soft lights. The queen, dressed in silver and blue robes, stood at the center of the grand room, watching all the guests with careful eyes. She was proud, but also tired. There were many guests tonight because the humans had come for a special visit. The queen wanted to make sure everything was perfect, but she was always careful around strangers, especially humans. The humans had arrived a few days ago. Their leader, a woman named Linda, was polite and smart. She spoke softly and showed respect to the queen. Some of the other humans seemed nervous, but they tried to look calm. The queen noticed one human standing alone near a pillar. He was not like the others. He was younger, with brown hair and a kind face. He did not talk much, but he watched. Everything, always alert but quiet. As the evening went on, the queen noticed that her daughter, Princess Illyra, kept looking at this quiet human. Illyra was dressed in a long white gown with bright jewels. She was beautiful, with gentle eyes and a soft voice. The queen loved her daughter very much and wanted her to be happy. Still, she wondered why Illyra looked at the human with such warmth. The queen leaned close to her daughter and whispered, "Who is that?" Illyra turned and smiled. "That's Jack," she said, her voice calm. "He is my husband." The words shocked the queen so much that she almost dropped her glass. She could not believe what she had heard. Her daughter, the princess of the Lurian Empire, was married to a human. She looked at Jack again and saw nothing special, just a simple human. The queen's heart beat faster. She pulled her daughter aside, away from the guests. "How did this happen?" the queen asked. "Why did you not tell me before?" Illyra held her mother's hand. "I wanted to, but I was afraid. I thought you would not understand." The queen did not know what to say. She felt angry, confused, and worried. She remembered all the stories about humans, about how they were strong but sometimes wild. She wondered if her daughter had made a mistake. Illyra began to tell her mother the whole story. It started months ago on a busy trade station at the edge of the galaxy. The princess had traveled there in secret to see what life was like outside the palace. She wore plain clothes and covered her hair, hoping no one would notice her. She wanted to meet new people and see new things. One day, Illyra walked through a crowded market. She was curious and stopped to look at everything. Suddenly, a group of traders saw her and tried to grab her. They thought she was an easy target. Illyra tried to run, but she was trapped in a corner. That was when Jack appeared. He worked at the station as a mechanic. He saw the trouble and rushed over without thinking twice. Jack spoke in a loud, clear voice, telling the traders to leave her alone. The traders laughed at him at first. He did not back away. Jack stood in front of Illyra, his arms wide, ready. To protect her, the traders saw he was not afraid. They soon realized he would not give up. After a few tense moments, they left, grumbling as they walked away. Illyra was safe. Illyra thanked Jack again and again. Jack just smiled and said it was nothing. He asked if she was hurt, and when she said no, he offered to walk her back to her ship. On the way, they talked about many things. Illyra liked how Jack listened to her. He was honest and kind, and he did not ask her who she was. He just wanted to help. That made Illyra feel safe. For the next few days, Illyra visited Jack often. She watched him work, fixing machines and helping people. Jack was patient with everyone. He treated aliens and humans the same. Illyra learned a lot from him. She liked his simple way of thinking. He told her about his life on Earth, his family, and how he came to work on the station. Illyra never told Jack she was a princess. She wanted him to see her as a regular person. Jack and Illyra became close friends. They laughed together, shared meals, and told stories. Illyra felt free for the first time. She did not have to follow any rules. Jack showed her how to repair small machines. He was proud when she fixed one on her own. Their friendship grew stronger every day. One day, Illyra's secret was discovered. A group of palace guards arrived at the station, looking for her. They called her princess in front of everyone. Jack was surprised but not angry. He only smiled and said, "So that's why you know so much about fancy things." Illyra worried Jack would treat her differently, but he did not. He told her, "You are still you, no matter what your title is." When it was time for Illyra to return to the palace, she felt sad. She did not want to leave Jack. She told him how she felt. Jack admitted he would miss her too. Illyra made a brave choice. She asked Jack to come with her. At first, Jack thought it was a joke, but Illyra was serious. She wanted him to meet her family and see her world. Jack agreed, but only if she truly wanted him there. Illyra said yes, and together they left the station for the Lurian homeworld. The Queen listened to this story, still unsure. She looked at Jack again, standing quietly in the grand hall. The Queen saw the way her daughter smiled at him, and the way Jack watched Illyra with respect. The Queen did not know what the future would bring, but she understood her daughter had made her choice. The evening continued, but the Queen's mind was filled with questions about Jack, the human her daughter had married. Jack did not know what to expect when he arrived at the palace of the Lurian Empire. Everything was new to him. The ceilings were higher than any building he had seen before, and the doors were tall and curved like the wings of a bird. The floors were so shiny that he could see his own face as he walked. There were guards everywhere, dressed in dark blue armor and holding long staffs that glowed at the tips. Jack felt out of place, but he remembered Illyra's words, "Just be yourself," on his first day in the palace. Illyra gave him a tour. She showed him the gardens, where plants from many worlds grew together. Some flowers were bright red and opened, and closed like tiny mouths. Others glowed softly in the dark. Illyra told him stories about her childhood in the garden. She liked to play hide and seek there when she was little. Jack listened closely and tried to picture a young Illyra laughing and running between the strange plants. As they walked, some palace workers looked at Jack with surprise or even distrust. A few whispered to each other, hiding their words behind their hands. Jack tried not to notice, but it made him feel even more alone. Illyra noticed too. She gently touched Jack's arm and said, "Give them time. They are not used to humans here." Jack nodded and tried to smile. He wanted to make a good impression, for Illyra's sake. Later that day, Illyra took Jack to meet some important people. There was the royal advisor, a tall man with dark eyes who spoke very slowly, choosing every word. There was the palace cook, a woman who loved to talk about food from different worlds. She offered Jack a sweet blue fruit that tasted like both honey and lemon. Jack thanked her and said it was the best thing he had eaten in weeks. She laughed and told him he was welcome in her kitchen any time. When Illyra brought Jack to meet members of the royal council, things changed. The council members were serious and formal. They bowed to Illyra but barely looked at Jack. One of them, a woman with short silver hair, spoke to Illyra in a low voice. "Is it true you have brought a human into the palace as your husband?" Illyra answered with pride, "Yes, this is Jack. He saved my life and showed me kindness when no one else would." The woman nodded but did not smile. "We hope your choice will bring honor to our family," she said. After the meeting, Jack felt tired. He and Illyra went to a quiet room with big windows that looked out over the city. Jack stared at the lights below. He thought about his life before he met Illyra, fixing machines and living from day to day. He never thought he would see a place like this, much less stand in a palace next to a princess. Jack turned to Illyra and asked, "Are you sure I belong here?" Illyra took his hand and looked into his eyes. "You belong with me. That is all that matters." Jack smiled, and for the first time since he arrived, he felt a little less nervous. That evening, the palace was busy with preparations for a big ceremony. The Queen wanted to welcome the humans officially and show respect for the new bond between their peoples. Jack helped in small ways, moving chairs and carrying boxes when no one was looking. The palace staff noticed, and some even smiled at him. Jack was happy to help, even if he did not always understand what was happening. During the ceremony, Jack wore a new suit given to him by Illyra. It was made of soft blue fabric with simple lines. He felt awkward, but Illyra told him he looked good. The Queen gave a speech in front of the guests. She spoke of peace, hope, and the promise of a better future. Jack watched her and tried to understand the heavy responsibility she carried. Then something unexpected happened. One of the big tables near the kitchen caught fire. No one knew how it started, but flames rose quickly and people shouted for help. Jack saw that some of the guests were frozen with fear. Without thinking, Jack grabbed a heavy cloth from a serving table and ran to the fire. He covered the flames and smothered them as best he could. Others joined him, and together they put out the fire before it could spread. The guests cheered, and the palace staff thanked Jack again and again. Some of the council members looked at him with new respect. Even the Queen gave him a small nod. Jack was a little embarrassed by all the attention. He just said, "I saw what needed to be done, so I did it." After the ceremony, Alira found Jack sitting alone in a quiet corner. She sat beside him and squeezed his hand. "You were brave," she said softly. Jack shrugged. "I just did what anyone would do." Alira shook her head. "Not everyone would run toward danger." "Thank you." That night, as Jack lay in the guest room, he thought about the day. He had met so many new people and seen so many strange things. He had helped in a small way, and maybe, just maybe, he had started to earn the trust of those around him. He missed his old life sometimes, but he knew he would not trade this new adventure for anything. Jack did not know what the future would hold. He knew there would be more challenges and that not everyone would accept him right away. But he also knew he was not alone. Alira was by his side, and together they could face whatever came next. In another part of the palace, the Queen sat alone in her study. She thought about Jack and the fire. She remembered the way he had acted without hesitation, risking himself for people he hardly knew. The Queen still worried about her daughter's choice, but she could not deny that Jack had a good heart. As the night grew quiet, the palace felt a little different. Some old fears had faded and a small hope had grown. The human Jack was no longer just a stranger in the hall. He was part of their story now, and the days ahead would decide if he could truly become one of them. ChatGPT said Alira's palace was a place of rules and tradition. Many of the people who lived there had known the princess all her life. They expected her to follow the ways of their ancestors. When Alira introduced Jack as her husband, many of the nobles were surprised and uneasy. They did not understand how a simple human could be part of their royal family. Jack noticed the cold looks and quiet whispers. Some of the palace servants treated him with respect, but others avoided him or watched him closely. He tried to stay calm and polite. He did not want to cause trouble. Jack knew Alira was watching him, and he wanted to be strong for her. One day, the royal council held a meeting to discuss the new situation. The room was large, with tall windows and a round table made of shining wood. The council members wore serious faces. The Queen sat at the head of the table, silent but watchful. Alira stood beside Jack, holding his hand. The council leader, a man named Callan, spoke first. "We must consider the safety and honor of the empire," he said. "This union between our princess and a human may bring problems we cannot foresee." And Jack listened quietly. He did not interrupt, but he felt the weight of their doubt. Another council member, a woman named Vera, added, "Humans are not like us. Their customs are strange and their ways unpredictable. Can we trust him with the secrets of our kingdom?" Jack met her eyes calmly. He wanted to speak, but Alira squeezed his hand, reminding him to wait. Alira then spoke. Her voice was steady but filled with emotion. "Jack has been kind and brave. He helped me when I needed him most. He does not care for power or wealth. He cares for me." The council was silent. Some nodded slowly, others looked away. After the meeting, Jack and Alira walked through the palace gardens. The sun was warm and the flowers bloomed in bright colors. Jack told Alira, "I feel like I am on another world, and not just because of the palace. I feel like I have to prove myself every day." Alira smiled softly. "You do not have to prove anything to me, but others may need time." As the days passed, Jack learned more about the Lurian culture. He watched the guards train in the courtyard, their movements sharp and precise. He listened to the palace musicians play strange instruments that made beautiful sounds. Jack tried to understand the language and customs. He wanted to be ready for anything. One morning, a messenger came to the palace with urgent news. A neighboring planet had sent a warning. Some rebels were planning to attack the palace. The Queen called an emergency meeting. Everyone was tense. Jack wanted to help, but he was not a soldier. He asked Alira if there was anything he could do. She smiled and said, "You can stay close to me. Your presence is a symbol of hope for many." Jack agreed, but wished he could do more. During the days before the possible attack, Jack and Alira spent more time together. They planned how to keep the people safe and talked about the future. Jack told Alira stories of his life on Earth, of the struggles and hopes he had. Alira shared her fears and dreams for her people. One evening, as the sun set, the palace held a feast to raise spirits. The hall was decorated with glowing crystals and colorful banners. Guests from many planets were invited. Jack sat beside Alira, feeling proud and nervous. Suddenly, the doors burst open, and a loud noise filled the room. A group of masked rebels rushed in, weapons ready. The guests screamed and tried to hide. Jack stood up quickly. He saw Alira's eyes wide with fear but also determination. Without thinking, Jack moved toward the nearest rebel. He grabbed a metal tray from a nearby table and used it to block the weapon. The rebel pushed Jack, but Jack held firm. Alira called the guards, and they rushed to protect the princess and the guests. The fight was short but fierce. The guards captured the rebels, and the palace returned to silence. Jack's quick action had helped prevent greater harm. The Queen looked at Jack with new respect. She spoke quietly to Alira, "Your husband has shown courage today." After the attack, the palace felt safer, but Jack knew the danger was not over. He and Alira prepared for the days ahead, ready to face whatever challenges might come. Jack understood that being part of this world meant more than just love. It meant courage, trust, and a willingness to stand together. That night, Jack and Alira stood on the palace balcony. The stars shone bright in the sky. Jack took Alira's hand and said, "No matter what happens, I will protect you." Alira smiled and leaned close. "And I will stand by you, always." Together they looked out at the galaxy, two different worlds joined by a strong bond. Their story was just beginning, and they were ready to face the future side by side. The palace was quiet after the attack, but the air was thick with worry. The Queen held meetings with her council every day, trying to find out who was behind the rebels. She knew that the threat was not over. Someone inside the palace might be helping the enemies. The thought made her uneasy. Alira and Jack worked together to help find the truth. Alira knew the palace better than anyone. Jack had fresh eyes and human skills that others did not expect. They started by talking to the palace staff. Many were loyal, but some looked nervous or avoided their questions. One afternoon, Jack and Alira found a secret room behind a bookshelf in the royal library. The room was small and dark. Inside, they saw strange machines and papers with coded messages. Jack looked at the devices and said, "These are tools to send secret signals." Alira nodded. "Someone has been talking to the rebels from inside the palace." They decided to keep the secret room a secret for now. They needed more proof. Jack used his knowledge of technology to analyze the machines. He discovered that the signals were sent to a small group of council members. The people trusted by the Queen might be working against her. Alira was shocked. She said, "We must be careful. If they find out we know, they will try to stop us." Jack agreed. They planned to gather evidence slowly and quietly. They watched the suspicious council members, noting their meetings and messages. One evening, as Alira walked through the hall, she overheard a conversation between two council members. They talked about a plan to remove Jack from the palace. They did not trust a human in the royal family. Alira's heart sank. She knew that some people were afraid of change and power moving to humans. Jack did not give up. He spoke with the Queen, telling her what they found. The Queen listened carefully but did not act quickly. She was torn between protecting her daughter's family and keeping the empire safe. She said, "We will handle this carefully. No one should be hurt without proof." Alira and Jack continued their search. One day they found a secret message hidden in a flower vase in the Queen's chambers. The message revealed that the rebels planned a second attack. This time it would be bigger and more dangerous. Illyra and Jack warned the queen immediately. The queen ordered the palace guards to prepare. She also called for the help of human allies. Jack was amazed at how quickly things moved when everyone worked together. The palace was ready, but the fear of betrayal still hung over them. The night before the planned attack, Illyra and Jack sat in the garden. The stars were bright, but their hearts were heavy. Jack said, "I never thought I would fight in a palace, but I will do anything to protect you and your people." Illyra smiled softly. "We are stronger together." The next day, the rebels attacked as planned. This time, more soldiers came. The palace shook with the sound of battle. Jack fought bravely beside the guards. He used his human strength and quick thinking to help protect the people. During the fight, Jack and Illyra found the traitors in the council. They were trying to escape through a hidden door. Jack blocked their way while Illyra called the guards. The traitors were caught and taken away. The queen looked at them both with pride. After the battle, the queen spoke to the court. She said, "Today we saw the strength of trust and unity. Jack has proven he is more than just a human. He is part of our family and our future." The court cheered and many nobles nodded in agreement. Illyra held Jack's hand. They knew the fight was not over, but now they had the queen's support. The palace felt hopeful again. The story of a human and a princess had changed the empire forever. That night, Jack looked up at the stars. He thought about Earth, about home, but he knew his place was here. With Illyra by his side, he was ready to face any challenge that came next. The queen wanted to know more about Jack. She knew her daughter loved him, but she needed to be sure Jack was worthy of their trust. One afternoon, she invited him to her private chambers. The room was large and filled with soft light from glowing crystals. The queen sat on a high chair, looking calm but serious. Jack stood before her, nervous but respectful. The queen began to ask Jack questions. "What do you know about duty?" she asked. Jack thought carefully before answering. "Duty means doing what is right, even when it is hard. It means protecting those you care about and standing strong for what you believe," the queen nodded. She liked that answer. "Do you understand sacrifice?" She continued. "Sometimes we must give up what we want for the good of others," Jack said. "Yes, I do. I gave up my old life to be here with Illyra. I would do anything to keep her safe, even if it means danger for me." The queen's eyes softened slightly. She asked about love. "Why do you love my daughter?" Jack smiled gently. "Illyra is kind and brave. She sees me as a person, not just a human or a stranger. I love her for who she is, and I want to share my life with her." The queen studied him for a moment. Then she said, "Your answers show heart. But being part of this family means more than words. It means action?" Jack understood. He promised to protect Illyra and the empire with all his strength. The queen looked at him with new respect. She said, "You may not be like us, but you have the courage we need." Jack bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty." After the meeting, Jack felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had faced the queen's test and did his best. He knew there was still much to prove, but this was an important step. The palace soon faced a new challenge. A group of alien traders came to the capital, claiming they had technology that could help the empire. The queen was cautious but curious. Jack was asked to meet with the traders and learn more about their offer. Jack met the traders in a large hall filled with machines and devices he had never seen before. The traders spoke quickly and tried to impress him with their knowledge. Jack listened but noticed something strange. Some machines seemed damaged, and the traders avoided direct questions about their true intentions. Jack asked the queen for permission to inspect the machines closely. She agreed but warned him to be careful. Jack examined the devices and discovered that some were broken on purpose. The traders planned to trick the empire and sell useless technology. Jack warned the queen and Illyra. The queen acted quickly to stop the deal. She thanked Jack for his honesty and cleverness. The palace guards arrested the traders and peace was kept. The queen called a gathering of the court. She praised Jack's actions and said his loyalty and courage protect us all. The nobles began to see Jack in a new light. He was no longer just a human, he was a protector of the empire. Illyra was proud of Jack. She knew he worked hard to earn their trust. Together they planned for the future. They spoke of building a new life, one where humans and Lurians could live together in peace. One evening, Jack and Illyra sat in the garden watching the stars. Jack took Illyra's hand and said, "No matter what comes, I will always stand by you." Illyra smiled and leaned her head on his shoulder. "And I will stand by you." The Queen watched from a distance. She saw the love between them and felt hope for a better tomorrow. The human and the princes had changed the palace and perhaps the whole empire. Their story was not finished, it was only beginning. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, proving that love and courage could cross any boundary. The palace was calm, but everyone knew that danger could come at any time. The Queen had been watching Jack closely, and she had come to respect him. Still, some nobles did not trust the human. They believed he was weak and could bring harm to the empire. Jack knew this too. He felt the weight of their eyes on him whenever he walked the halls. One morning, a warning came from the outer borders of the empire. Scouts reported that a group of enemies planned to attack the palace. This time, the threat was bigger than before. The Queen called her advisors and prepared the defenses. Jack stood beside Illyra and the Queen, ready to help. The palace guards trained harder. They prepared weapons and shields. Jack helped where he could. He used his strength and quick thinking to organize supplies and help the workers. Illyra was proud of Jack. She saw how he grew stronger each day. The night before the attack, the palace was filled with quiet tension. People whispered prayers and promises to protect their home. Jack and Illyra stayed together in a small room, overlooking the city. Jack held her hand and said, "No matter what happens, I will protect you in this palace." Illyra smiled softly, "And I will stand with you. We are stronger together." At dawn, the enemy came. Ships flew over the palace and soldiers marched toward the gates. The battle began with loud sounds of explosions and shouting. The guards fought bravely. Jack was in the thick of it, moving quickly to help where he was needed. During the fight, a group of enemy soldiers broke through the outer defenses. They rushed toward the Queen's chambers, hoping to capture her. Jack saw them and ran faster than ever. He met the soldiers at the door, holding a heavy metal beam as a weapon. The soldiers laughed, thinking Jack was just a human. But Jack was fierce. He swung the beam with all his might, knocking one soldier down. The others hesitated, surprised by his strength. Jack pushed forward, holding the door closed until the Queen's guards arrived. Illyra found Jack after the fight. He was tired but smiling. "You were amazing," she said. Jack shook his head. "I only did what anyone would do to protect the people I love." The Queen came to Jack later. She placed her hand on his shoulder. "Today, you showed that you are more than just a human. You are a true member of this family and a hero to this empire." The court gathered to celebrate the victory. The Queen spoke proudly of Jack and Illyra. She said, "This battle proved that courage and love can cross any boundary. Together, we are stronger." Jack and Illyra stood side by side, holding hands. The nobles who once doubted Jack now saw him as a protector and partner. The Queen smiled, knowing her daughter had chosen well. That night, under the stars, Jack and Illyra dreamed of the future. They knew challenges would come, but together they would face them all. Their love had changed the empire, and their story was just beginning.